We are setting out on an epic adventure. Never been out west, never operated an RV. What could go wrong? What are you doing, Gemma? Okay. Kellen, what you up to?
I'm just sitting back here.
Just living your best life?
We got Dad, our pilot, of the RV trip. Then, back here, we got the girls. They're doing girl stuff. Hi. Y'all doing
Hi.
girl stuff?
What?
Y'all doing girl stuff?
Yeah, we're doing girl stuff. I'm reading my Facebook comments and people are giving me suggestions on where we should
Did you
go.
see that?
Yep.
Did we pass that up?
No?
That looks nice.
Yep.
Yeah, so everybody's really doing their own thing.
Right after we set up the RV for our very first time, a thunderstorm descended upon Amarillo. It was violent but short, and after it ended, we headed out for the evening. The Cadillac Ranch is located right next to our RV park and is one of the attractions in Amarillo. Graffiti is legal here, so Amanda and the kids left their mark. If you're in Amarillo for one night with a couple of kids, there is only one restaurant in town, and that's the Big Texan. As long as there wasn't any bad traffic, steep inclines, or hard turns, Amanda would sub in and drive for me, giving me much needed breaks. It's amazing what those breaks can do for your stamina. Once we got the RV situated, it was too late in the day to enter the park and ride the Monument Loop, so we decided to do that in the morning. and instead headed to a spot known as Forrest Gump Lookout. Got a fantastic pic. When we arrived at the park for sunset and they wouldn't let us in, I was super disappointed. Didn't know it at the time, but due to the loop being west of the monuments, sunrise, not sunset, is the time to do this ride. As we walked up and took our first view of the Grand Canyon, I looked over at Amanda and she was patting her chest with tears in her eyes. It literally took her breath away. here at the Grand Canyon Trailer Village. This is the setup tonight after a day of viewing the rim, southern rim. Got some burgers going. We got our rockers out.
Hi.
Got Mama over here grilling some onions.
On the Blackstone.
So we're gonna be eating good tonight. We left the kids riding their scooters around the RV park, while Amanda and I took advantage of the Rim Bike Trail. With the ledge right off the side of the trail, we figured it best the kids sit this one out. The Zion Ponderosa Ranch and RV Resort shares a border with Zion National Park. It is an attraction in itself, with kayaking, horseback riding, pickleball, heated pools, hot tubs, slides, and even mini golf. We took advantage of many of these amenities in our 2 nights here. We set off on a hike to Observation Point. It's nearly 4 miles, mostly uphill. The kids were not prepared, but they persevered. This hike is not a loop, so the real moment of dread set in when they realized that the summit was just the halfway point. But ultimately the payoff was definitely worth it. At least the 4 miles back was mostly downhill. After about a 4-mile hike uphill, here we are. We've arrived at Observation Point. The Grand Canyon was the most beautiful place I had ever seen. It held that distinction for all of one day because, well, just look at Zion. Even though we brought bicycles with us, because of the steep grades and high winds, we rented e-bikes for Zion, and it did not disappoint. We picnicked in a place called the Narrows, and the squirrels there are super aggressive trying to get food. There are signs everywhere saying not to feed the squirrels, and we didn't. But look at these guys. It was hard not to. Nestled along the Snake River, Alpine, Wyoming sits just outside the Tetons. This would be our home for the next couple of days. Alpine Valley RV Resort, Alpine, Wyoming, just outside of the Grand Tetons. Very, very clean, great friendly environment. The kids love it. Here is our site here for the next couple of days. Got the Jeep that we've been dragging, bicycles, scooters. The kids love scootering around the park. And we've got a fire tonight because it's getting chilly out here. Kellen is off to make another round on the scooter. And this is our home for this adventure. It's a Fleetwood Fortis 34 MB. And we are gonna see the inside, so we'll have a good memory of it. This is Amanda's seat, Mom's seat, my seat, the living room, fireplace that is set to LSU colors. Got the TV, kitchen area. Kellen's bed is up here. Push a button and it comes down. Gemma's bed. This booth converts to a bed for Gemma. Couch also converts to a bed, but that one's more comfortable. Pantry here. Bathroom. Very, very nice. You can actually take a really good shower in there, surprisingly. Washer and dryer here. And that means we didn't have to pack as many clothes. Here is the master bedroom. And watch TV at night. And that's the RV. It's very nice, very comfortable, and we have been having an absolute blast in this thing. Kellen was suffering from a toothache and his face was swelling. So after we finished rafting, we took him to an urgent care in Jackson and got an antibiotic. He immediately started improving after we got him some medicine. Several people have commented that you can't do Yellowstone in a day. And while I agree that you wouldn't be able to do the entire park in a day, you can absolutely hit the highlights if you manage your time correctly. And also, can't is not a word that factored into this adventure. If it was, we would have never made it this far. So how do you do Yellowstone in a day? Kellen, count it down. We even had time for some cornhole back at the RV just before dark. What a great Father's Day. As we bid farewell to Yellowstone, the drive east off the plateau was both beautiful and treacherous, complete with ledges and steep inclines. I white-knuckled the steering wheel while Amanda prayed. Thankfully, we made it without issue. The first national park in the world, Yellowstone was amazing, and we hope to return one day to experience more of what it has to offer. As we made our way across Wyoming, our path took us up into the Bighorn Mountains, an unexpected treat, if you could call it that. Switchbacks in a 35-foot RV towing a Jeep are not for the faint at heart, but we pressed on without issue. After arriving in Keystone, we hopped in the Jeep and headed to historic Deadwood, home to legends such as Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane. A thunderstorm cut our time in Deadwood short, so we headed back to the RV to get some rest. After seeing Rushmore, we drove the Iron Mountain Road, a winding road with tunnels. The tunnels frame Rushmore, but it doesn't come through on video.
Look at that.
We drove the wildlife loop at Custer State Park, coming face to face with bison, antelope, donkeys, and prairie dogs. I took the doors off the Jeep for this ride, which made things a little too real for Amanda.
Oh, jeez. Stay over there. Stay over there. Do not come to me. Do not come to me.
Hey guys.
Don't make them run at us. Wait, Gemma. Oh.
You want to feed him? All you have to do is put your hand out like that, and they'll take it right off your hand. Keep your hand flat. Is that a Dodge pretzel? There you go. It's not a Dodge pretzel. All gone. Sorry.
Let him get.
You want to feed him?
No, I don't.
You know?
We checked our weather apps and saw thunderstorms would be moving into the area around 4. It was 1 o'clock and sunny, so we knew we had a few hours before the weather turned nasty. So we headed back into the mountains to ride the Needles Highway. No sooner than we got up the mountain did we realize our mistake. South Dakota weather is apparently as unpredictable as the weather back home because a storm developed and it wasn't waiting until 4. Railless cliffside driving in gale force winds, lightning crashing all around. Oh, and hail. Yes, hail. Marble sized. And oh yeah, the Jeep has no top and no doors. No footage of the storm as my family took shelter with their heads between their legs while I white-knuckled the steering wheel and tried to keep us alive. It was intense. After descending the mountain, we decided to spend the rest of the day in Keystone near the RV, as more storms were in the area. We found a zip line for the kids. Took a ski lift up the mountain for more views of Rushmore. Kellen was not very good at the dismount. Much better, Kellen. At the foot of Mount Rushmore is the Presidential Wax Museum. With the weather being what it was, we headed inside to take a look. We finished our day at Rushmore with dinner at a saloon. Despite the weather, we had a fantastic time in South Dakota. The highlight of the ride home was Amanda driving so I could go back to the couch and watch the Tigers play the Arkansas Razorbacks on their way to their 8th national championship. Over the course of this adventure, we traveled 4,461 miles in the RV. That's not counting any miles in the Jeep. We touched 12 states and 7 parks. It was our first time experiencing the American West, and what an incredible experience it was. This country is vast and beautiful, and I would tell anyone that hasn't seen it that they absolutely need to. I decided to video document this entire trip so that we can always reshare the experience with one another. And one day, my children can show their children their adventure.